Hey Matt, how you doing? So today I am working on a track. This one, in fact. Sorting out some windows here. Yeah, don't worry about breaking my flow, Matt. Thank you for that, though. So when you say the deep bass, do you mean this one? Is that what you are referring to? I presume it must be. It's a good question. I think it might be, because that's the only bass that's playing there, so it must be what you're talking about. So I think it might be Repro 1 or Repro 5, I think. Can't remember which one. But I started this track such a long time ago, and this is audio now, that I can't really remember. Yeah, so I'll carry on talking. Oh, what's going on here? That's because I've got to say the one. Yeah, so it's either Repro 1 or Repro 5. And I think it might just be a preset. I think. Which I think I changed the noise of it by, I think it's got some kind of thing on the, what's it called when you push how hard you push, not velocity, but the other one. Aftertouch, there you go. It might be something on Aftertouch, and I just did a little kind of performance of that. So this is a track that I've been struggling with. Let's just go to, I've actually live streamed with this track a few times before. And the tricky thing about, well, one of the tricky things about it is that it's going to be the first track on the album. But I only really, for definite, said that once I'd got a specific problem that I was trying to figure out sorted, which actually happened in the last session, which I didn't live stream. So essentially how this track works is we've got this opening section here, and I think I'll just play it so you can hear how it kind of works. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I make work on music that I've really struggled with. So if you look in my automatic music machine here and I show you, so here you can see I've done, so there was 18 hidden, and 4, so I've done 22 sessions on this track. And I started it in April 2019, so this has been a tricky one. But it's got something about it that I just can't let go of. So one thing I'm going to do while we're listening is this. remember how to do it. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So now we're into the second section, which you wouldn't be able to tell because that's one of the things I'm going to sort out now. Hello, Rick. Good to see you back. Well, good to see me back. Good to see us back together. So that middle section has been leading to this, really. This is the payoff, if you like. So I can stop playing it now. So basically, the reason I played that to you because I just wanted to explain what the problem was. So let me just mark this out. So essentially, oops, hang on. I'm not very familiar with how we do markers in Luna, so you'll have to forgive me. So let's call this section A. Let's call it A. Intro. Exposition. Yep. And then basically at this point, where is it? It's there. is where... Now, how do I add a new marker? There we go. Development. So this is section B. That's not exactly the right place. Let's move this across. 105. Okay. Hey, David. And then this is the... I suppose you could call it sort of the recapitulation, or essentially section. Oh, where is it exactly? Right, 173 is, see, I'm going to use the, I mean, it's not exactly a recapitulation, but for those classical people, but let's just call it that for now. Yeah, it's basically where the thing is developed and you kind of hear it, because basically this melody in the piano, yeah, yeah, is basically a development of this melody here in that kind of slightly weird brassy solo thing, which is actually, believe it or not, the init preset in Diva. I was like, well, you know, I'm going beyond. I'm like, not only am I not using presets, I'm actually using the initialized thing. Like, it's not even a preset, it's just, you know, the thing that comes up first time. I'll do, Rob. Good to see the old gang back. Basically the same melody, even here. Hey, Matrix and Mikhail. Good to see you. So you can hear it's the same as the second half of this. Oh, no, it's the second half over here, isn't it? Yeah. So essentially we've got section A here, where the, you know, musically the exposition, if you like, of the theme is there. Yeah. And then it comes back here. Yeah. And essentially the idea of this track is called I Want to Exist. Okay. And I've got a whole kind of story in my head about it, which I won't go into now. But essentially it's this kind of, it's about this thing that appears. And it's a metaphor, obviously. But it's this thing appears, and all that it knows is that it wants to exist. But it's kind of like the birth of something, the birth of an idea, or the birth of something. But it doesn't really know what it is. It doesn't really know anything. All it knows is that it wants to exist. Yeah. So this section here is really intended to be very unsettling. Yeah. And the reason that this melody is played on an unusual and weird part that you're not really expecting is in order to create that feeling of like, what is this? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of a metaphor for, you know, you get an idea and you don't know what it is, but you just know it's an idea. Yeah. And all you know is that it wants to exist. Okay. And then when this happens and it really lands, it's much more, it's kind of on a piano. We know a piano, we're familiar with the piano. And it's almost like we've heard things like this before, right? It sounds like something off a movie or something, right? Where is it? There. Yeah, so you're essentially getting the same melody, yeah, in a much more kind of certain. So this is uncertain and that is certain. So what happens in the middle here is the idea, the thing that wants to exist, kind of finding its feet, going through a kind of, I mean, this is going to sound a bit ridiculous, but going through some kind of transformation where it's actually kind of, it's fighting to exist. Yeah. Oh, what am I? Who am I? This kind of thing. So this section here, when I kind of figured out what this wanted to be, I mean, it's really funny because the creation of this track is an example of what the track's about, which is it's very meta. Yeah. But this section here basically wants to be, this development section wants to really build the tension. There wants to be an enormous amount of tension. And while there was tension previously in being built in the DFAM parts, which are basically, where are they? Oh, seems to have moved around. Yeah, so these parts, so the orange ones. Yeah, with the, the filters going up and everything. It wanted to be something musical, yeah? And I was struggling, and I knew I wanted it wanted to be a harmonic development, right? As well as just a kind of sound designy development as well. I just wanted to do that. Thing is, I don't have the compositional chops to do that very easily. So I struggled to find a kind of chord progression that built tension and that worked, yeah, in the middle section. So what I did was, because it was just slightly, maybe kind of a fair way beyond my ability at this point as a composer. Okay, so in that situation, I had two options. Now, what I want you to kind of focus on here is how I am approaching the problem. Yeah, because there are a number of different solutions to the problem of wanting to do something that you can't do. You can't quite do yet. One is just not to do that. Yeah, it's to do something else, because it's not the only thing that, sometimes we just go, right, I'm going to wait until I've got a degree in like audio engineering before I do this. Now that would not be the ideal way to move forward with a piece of music. I mean, because then what you'd have to do is you'd have to put it aside, which is fair enough. You could do that if you wanted. But the thing is, I knew that this was just beyond my ability. It wasn't like light years away from my ability. Yeah. So I decided that if I can, I'm going to try and find the chord progression. Yeah, that builds tension. But because it was beyond my ability, just beyond my ability right now, I knew that would mean that I would have to face frustration, and using the principles of the automatic music machine, what would that mean? It would mean that I would not do it in one session. I would not have to do it in one session. And when I did a session and then exported it and then came back to listen to it days later, I would not be so attached to the fact that it hadn't worked yet, because I recognized that it's beyond my ability. So what I'm actually doing is I am accepting that it's not going to work for multiple sessions. That makes sense? Yeah. So I'm while I do feel frustrated, I'm not getting wrapped up in the story of that frustration. Oh, I'm a terrible person. I'm not good enough. This music's not good enough. I'm not getting wrapped up in that. I'm just going, at some point, it's going to come. But the only way it's going to come is by me doing a session and maybe going, let's say the goal is here to create this chord progression that does what it needs to do. Yeah. So I go here in the first session, and then I go here, and then actually the next session I go backwards. Yeah. And then I go here, and then I go here, and then I go, yeah. And then gradually I get to this point. Yeah. Because one of the things I've noticed, I mean, it's just on the Music Hit Squad, the community, Slack community with a leap, somebody was talking to one of his coaches, and in this kind of focusing on the problems thing that we do at the end of the process, he's sort of, he kind of got sort of down about it, and, you know, saying to himself, oh, I can't, oh man, you know, I started questioning whether, you know, this music was any good or anything. And I just posted him a response just now saying, how does your reaction to focusing on the problems, how does that display a mistake in how you are viewing problems? Because really, problems are just signposts. I mean, you can look at them, they're not just this, but that you can look at them as signposts to a solution. You don't have to be all wrapped up in how, you know, oh God, that means I'm terrible, or oh God, that means this idea is awful, or anything like that. It's simply, okay, there's a problem that needs to be solved. I don't need to solve it in one session. I don't need to solve it in 10 sessions if I can't. If I want to solve it, I will solve it eventually. All problems are able to be solved at some point. I mean, when I say all problems that don't, you know, the solution isn't defying the laws of, you know, the universe. Yeah. All problems are able to be solved. So you don't get wrapped up in how good or how bad it is. It's just like, no, that's not right yet. And then the final insight I had, because I came to this chord progression now, and I'm sure that I could come up with a better one. I think one of the reasons it took me a long time was that I wanted something that was more complicated. Yeah, it was almost like a kind of there was a lot of ego involved in it. Yeah, and actually I came to something that's relatively simple. Essentially, it's that because I'm an electronic producer, I'm very used to repetitive chord progressions, rather than ever shifting chord progressions that go through all sorts of things. Yeah, so I actually ended up having two halves. Yeah, one which kind of builds tension because it's repeated, and then the second half that's repeated. But one of the interesting things that I noticed was that, and this is a pitfall you can fall into when you do multiple sessions on a track. And by the way, I never did a multiple session. I never did 2 sessions back to back. I've been doing it, you know, in the course of cycling through the machine. One of the things I noticed was that when I found the solution, when I found the chord progression that I am going to use, it wasn't like this massive light bulb moment going off when, oh, I've got it, you know, to go running down the street. Whoa, it's amazing. Yeah, it was more like I listened back to it. So I did, you know, I sort of did the session, found it frustrating, exported the audio. A few days later, listened to it, and it was just like, oh, there it is. Right, and one of the things I think that we can do, if we're not careful, is that we can fall into the waiting for that amazing moment, you know, that kind of, oh yes, that's it, yeah, rather than just neutrally listening to the music and go, oh no, that works. Yeah, because that was the thing that I came to, was like, oh no, that's it, that works. Yeah, and if I'd have been over-indexing on wanting that kind of, because you know, the longer you work on something, it's almost like the bigger that inspirational light bulb moment, you know, you want to happen. So there's a difference between focusing on your reaction to the music in order to know if it's good enough, yeah, and actually focusing on the music. They're very different things. Yeah? If I'd have been focusing on my reaction, I probably would have dismissed this one, the actual solution. So, let's actually do this. So this is what I did just before now. Was I created my, hang on a minute, I've got to change the thing, haven't I? Mac cam, there we go. Yep. So I made a list here. Where are the problems? Yep. And I mean, there are other problems, but really I'm just focused on really the compositional stuff. at the moment. Yeah, and this is actually, I mean, just for those people who have done the leap and are familiar with the automatic music machine. Really, I could be doing this over here. This is because I'm about to do some more discovery. Yeah, but this has been done for quite a long time. Yeah, so it's kind of gone back. But I mean, officially, what I'm about to do is some discovery, which is absolutely fine. Yeah. So where are the problems? Yeah. So I'm really focusing on these kinds of problems rather than mixing problems or anything like that. Okay. So the first thing is the Alberti piano comes in suddenly with no reason. So basically, what happens is it goes here. Hello, Jace. Hi, Nat. I'm glad I opened your eyes. Yes, no, I've had quite a few big realizations in this recent class of the Leap, which I found very, very helpful. So, yeah, I'm going to be sharing them with you as I finish this music. So yeah, so basically here, so this is the new section happening now, and then it's almost like this piano over here comes in with the new chords come in, and it's almost like, well, why are they coming in? There's no reason for them to come in. Yeah. So that's the first problem. Yeah. It's almost like I think sometimes you want a musical reason why something happens. I certainly feel that. I always want to challenge myself to do that. Sometimes there are solutions to things in music where I kind of feel like I'm copping out. Yeah, and I'm not letting myself do that because I want to get better. Yeah, so I'm using the music to get better. Yeah. Here, the build to the payoff, and the payoff, bear in mind, is here in the C section. Yeah. So the build to the payoff is just chord changes and filters. So the problem before was that the build to the payoff was just filters on here. Now it's chord changes and filters. Yeah. But still, it's not musical enough. It's almost like there's nothing other than that. It feels like there's something missing. Yeah. But if I do a problem focus, yeah, what's missing is the solution. Yeah, I'm actually focusing on the problems here. So what is the problem that something not missing would be solving? Would be the build to the payoff is just chord changes and filters. It's not musical enough. Yeah, and this is related to the other problem I identified, which is the Diva synth, which is the thing that I played before at the start. You know, this weird the init patch. Yeah, that Diva synth is a weird thing on its own, which makes it seem pointless. It's like, why does it come in here and then you just never hear it again? So maybe these two here are suggesting a potential solution. Yeah. And then this is about the end section. The end section is just the piano part copied multiple times. There's no development. Now, I'm not going to address that last one now because I will, that's too much for one session. Yeah. So I'm just going to do that later. Yeah. So these are the three problems that I am going to brainstorm some solutions for. So let's start with this one. Okay, so use, I wish I could remember what it was called now. I might have deleted it. Organs of Canada, that's it. Okay. Okay. So that's one option. Now, if I wasn't doing this brainstorming of options, I would just leave it at that, right? But I'm going to force myself to brainstorm at least 3 other options just because I've noticed that when I do that, often a later option is actually a better option. Okay, so let's have a think. Right, so try. Okay, great. Right, taking a motif from the melody and placing it over the initial chord progression, then I'm trying to think of an easy way of saying that. Then I know what I mean here, right? I'm doing it gradually before the piano comes in. So essentially what I'm saying is you know, that melody, taking some small part of that and adding it over, so actually adding it over the top of this initial chord progression, because there's two halves of it, yeah, initial chord progression here, so that it works over it. Then basically without that chord progression here, gradually sneaking that motif here. Yeah, so it's suggesting the chord progression. So that's another option. Okay. Add another. I can't remember the name of the sound. Been working on this so long. Yeah, right. Okay. Add main riff part, which suggests pattern, which suggests chord progression, or leads to it. Okay. So some people are probably thinking right now, God, this takes ages. Isn't this going to take like loads more time if you do this all the time? And that I can verify 100% is a mistake. By doing this, you're actually saving an enormous amount of time, because you're using your editor, you're separating the creator from the editor, yeah? And by the way, you wouldn't usually do this by listening to the DAW file. The reason I'm doing that here is because, yeah, I want you to be clear on what's going on. Yeah, I would usually do this with simply the audio file. Okay. Anyway, so add another main riff pattern. Yeah. So I've had a suggestion here from David saying a backwards bar of init with crossfade into the new piano. So what I would call that is a I mean, it's a good idea, absolutely. But if you look at the actual problem as I've identified it, actually no, not that. I think I'm linking it with this. The build to the payoff is just chord changes and filters, not musical enough. I would describe that, the solution that you've said there, David, as being, it's almost like a production trick solution. And I'm really looking for musical solutions at this point, really. And I mean, I haven't described that here. Yeah. But there's a difference between kind of production tricks to create the thing. Yeah, and they're not worse. I'm not saying they're worse. It's just that I wanted. It's almost like the music is asking me, because this is about, you know, I want to exist. It's about the creation of things, and like this piano, which is very kind of musical, yeah, being heralded by things that aren't so musical, strikes me as being a bit, well, for me anyway, is just a bit of a cop out. So that's why I'm focusing on musical things here. Okay, so that's some options there. The build to the payoff is just chord changes and filters, not musical enough. Well, I mean, I probably will have fixed some of that here. So I'll just add that as an option because this is kind of a different solution, a different problem. Use motif from previous problem to build. Another thing could be to do an improv part on the piano or the diva in it. I often find the third solution, the third option is one of the hardest. But it's really, I think it's really important sometimes to brainstorm these things, like to really kind of push yourself. When I get stuck at brainstorming solutions, often what I'll try and do is I will try and break out of the box I'm thinking, because these are kind of very similar solutions. So let's try and put in just a crazy solution. So what I've said there, if you can't see it, is remove all parts, bar the musical ones, and make the build-up 100% musical. All right, so what's interesting about that solution is that it's just taking almost like the opposite approach. I mean, I doubt I'm going to do that one, but I've written it down anyway because it's almost like it's a lateral thinking one. I think it's really important sometimes because really one of my mentors, Dan Sullivan, he doesn't know he's my mentor, but he's entrepreneurial, he coaches small businesses and things like that. And, one of the things he has said over and over again is the problem isn't the problem is how you're thinking about the problem. Yeah. So in order to overcome that, sort of finding an entirely different solution that takes a different approach is kind of really helpful. So, now, funnily enough, and this is what often happens, is this problem, the D, the synth, is a weird thing on its own, which makes it seem pointless. Yeah. If I do these, that kind of will have been solved. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to put a placeholder on that because that might not be a problem anymore if I solve the other problems with the diva synth. So I'm just going to leave that to one side. So essentially, now what I have move these to the top. Anyway, where have we gone now? I'm getting all lost. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to identify the ones I'm going to try. So I'm definitely going to try that one. I'm definitely going to try that one. And I think I will see where we get. I will leave that one aside. So again, notice when I'm doing this that I haven't, when I've been writing down the problems, I haven't been writing down all of the problems with the track. I've been focusing on the biggest problem with the track, which is this section. Yeah, and even when I identified another problem, which is the end section, I'm just not going there yet, because there's no point in me doing that until I've sorted this out. Yeah, and similarly, in actually identifying the options I'm going to try, I'm not, so I'll just do them all. I'll just try them all. Yeah, I'm actually going, no, I'm going to go for these ones. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to try these two. I might as well try that second one, do an improv part on the piano or the diva in it. I might as well do that because it won't take me very long. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. So Matt's asking, did you ever use Brian Eno's oblique strategies? And I don't think I've ever used them, but I know about them, and I've seen some of them over the years, but I've never actually had a practice where I've used them. But yeah, Brian Eno, massive inspiration in lots of different ways. All right. So what am I going to try first? Organs of Canada power to suggest the coming chord progression. Right, now let's do that. So here's where you see that I'm learning a new door. I think there's a shortcut for doing, what is it? There we go. For changing it to an instrument. So let's call it organs of, actually it might not be Organs of Canada because I can't remember where it is, but let's just put it in there for that. And it's Omnisphere. What is it? Spectrosonics. Cool. Let's create a, let's not do that yet. There we go. And I think, unfortunately, I don't know where it is. It might be in this. No. 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 I don't know whether it actually search is actually doing that. Let's try it again. It's going to be the last one, isn't it? Of course. Either that or I didn't search properly. Oh, there it is. Whew. Okay, now let's just take a little picture for my OCD. There we go. And have I got the MIDI? Yes. Okay. And what is it? I remember the chords because I played them so often, so. I can't remember how to loop things. What was it? It's here, I think. I'm sure there's a way of doing it with keyboard shortcuts, but I don't know yet. I remember that one. Trying to force myself to remember to do the keyboard shortcuts when I can remember. Okay. Yes, no, there are lots and lots of shortcuts in Luna, and they've gone for the Pro Tools kind of end of things, which is understandable because that's their core audience. Is what's it called? There's no capture, is there? That's one of the things in that I don't think Luna has right now. So something else to remember. Right, okay. Okay, what was it again? Oh no. What was it? I can't remember now. Is it here? Oh, what the hell? I'm just gonna do that. Right, it's all right. I'll just get on with it. At the moment, so the approach I've been taking with doing the shortcuts is that I'm trying to focus on one area of shortcuts. So at the moment, what I'm trying to focus on is things like zooming, yeah, and sort of navigation around the interface like that, yeah, rather than anything else. So things like looping and playback, I've not really been focused on. So. Because there's just too much to learn otherwise. Right. Oh! Do it again. Right. Got it! Gotta remember record arm. Michael, must remember record arm. So, going back to MacCam. So one of the really cool things about Luna is that you've got this here, fold and fit. Yeah. So fit. Wait a minute. Yeah, fits the part in the window, but fold just folds the notes that you are using together, which is just genius. I don't know if any other DAW has that, but that's just really helpful, because here you can see B5, A5, F5, and E5. Let's turn you down a bit. Okay, cool. Now, there's going to be a problem here, I can tell already, in that I'm pretty sure that the piano progression is not that slow. Almost definite. And what I maybe ought to have done is play these parts over the piano progression. Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to, just because remember, I'm going to export this, right? And I'm not, so we're in kind of discovery here. Yeah. So this is more of a discovery thing because I'm creating. Yeah. So I'm not going to try and get this right. I'm just going to hear what it sounds like. So what I'm going to do is because you know a very valid way of creating tension is to increase the speed of the chord progressions. Yeah. So if you start a chord progression moving slowly and then you shorten the amount of time that chord progression happens, that actually increases tension. Similarly, the opposite way around as well. Kind of depends. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try doing that. And then probably what I will do is I will create another part here. And in Logic, there's a go at half time. I don't know where that is Luna, so I'm going to have to try and do this the old-fashioned way. Like this. I could probably play it, couldn't I? Yeah, let's do that. I'm just going to play it. Otherwise I'm boring myself and everybody with my inept Luna editing skills, MIDI editing skills. I certainly haven't moved to Luna for the MIDI. That's not my reason for doing it. Although it's not bad, it's just I think you know Logic et al. Have had many years to get that much better. So the other thing to just notice here is another way that I've created tension with this chord progression is by making it a 6-bar pattern. Sometimes, you know, we're very used to and we kind of feel comfortable because if you think about what tension is, what is tension? Where does it come from? Tension is something that you're expecting that doesn't happen. And that creates tension. So usually we're expecting a 8-bar pattern. So by putting a 6-bar one in there, I've raised the tension. Yeah, it kind of creates a feeling of tension just in itself, because it's not resolving on the 8. It's kind of going back, so it's just looping around. That in itself creates tension. I just wanted to point that out. Anyway, so what am I doing? This. Oh, we're... Ah! You can tell that I'm not a recording engineer who tracks other people, can't you? Right. Okay. Oh man. Here we go. Let's do it over. Let's do it over. That will give me a bit more of a relaxed situation. Yeah, the problem is this note, what's it called? This sound is a very slow attack, so it's probably not going to work so well over this quicker chord progression. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to put in the thing that I can. Monday feeling the pressure right now. There we go. All right, that's it. There we go. Oh, he did it. He did it. Well done, Michael. You're not a complete no-hoper. Right. Now, the chord progression, this changes halfway through, and I'm not going to bother doing that. I'm not going to bother copying that, because I can just imagine it. Right. I'm sorry, playing that. It's over here. Where is it? I'm not going to get into all that, yeah, because it's going to take me ages, and it'll be very dull for not only me but you, yeah. So I'm just going to imagine that when the chord progression changes over here, that this pad is continuing, yeah. So that continues there. I'll just copy it over for there. So, do you know what as well? I actually, that piano part, I just want to give myself a bit of a shout out here. All right, so thumbs up from everyone for this, from what I'm about to share with you. This piano part I played, and it is not quantized. So I actually played this in from beginning to end. Yeah, it didn't even copy it over. I literally played the whole thing. So that practice makes perfect. Although I hate the word perfect. Practice makes progress. There you go. There's no way in a million years I would have been able to do that at the start of this year. Yeah. So, yeah. What am I doing? Right. Back. Onwards. Onwards. Right, let's do, I've done that one. Try taking a motif from the melody and placing it over the initial chord progression, then adding it gradually before the piano comes in. Okay. So this. So that means I need to get a new diva up. So the other thing to notice here is that by identifying problems like this, yeah, I've got this kind of zoomed out view of the problems and how they're interrelated, because this problem here, the diva synth is a weird thing on its own, which makes it seem pointless, yeah, in this track, yeah, is a problem which can be fixed by fixing this problem in that way, yeah. So it's almost like that solution is now the preferred solution, because I'll be, I hate this phrase, but I'm going to use it anyway, killing two birds with one stone. Yeah, it's got to be a less aggressive form of that, saying that thing. But anyway, so there we go. What is it? What is it? Is it that? Yes. And is it that? No. That? Yes. No. That. There we go. Wonderful. Let's just start with shape. This is the best thing, when it's not the best thing. I'm just about to show you, and I'm not here to sell you Luna, by the way. But why have you gone all spinning wheel of doom on me? Okay, cool. So I'm not here to sell you Luna. All doors that I know of are awesome and amazing, and as I said to Mikhail in the Music Hit Squad, the Slack community with the Leap, I'm not going to get Luna tattooed on my forehead. So when I show you the things I love about Luna, it's not because I'm not being paid by Universal Audio, and I'm not going to stop using the other doors either. It's just I found for the end of the process there are things about Luna that I absolutely love, and one of them is what I'm about to show you. Okay. So say you've got a new instrument up here, yeah, so say I'm here, and I go to that. All I have to do is go like that. Yeah. And furthermore, if I'm on this screen, yeah, let's just say I want to add, well, I mean, I know I want to add, I'm going to have to add, where is it? Where are you? Where have you gone? Diva. There. Okay. So let's just shut this down. So let's just say I want to add a plugin here. Watch me do this. Okay. Boom. And then I go console 1. Yeah. So I don't have to go through menus and stuff. Now, that's one of these features that seems to be a tiny little thing that wouldn't make much difference, but oh my goodness me, it's so awesome. Plus, the other thing is, let me show you here. As long as the plugin doesn't hold its presets within the plugin, yeah, then you can go here, and then you can do the same thing. So I can go bass, and then it will just come up with all of the presets for bass there. Yeah, or I could go, drum. Yeah, or I could go big. Yeah, it's just one of those tiny little things that's just like, oh, like that. Anyway, so, but yeah, continue using the DAW that you're using, because they're all awesome. And I'm absolutely sure that all of them eventually will start applying some of the things that Universal Audio done. So, you know, this isn't the solution to all your problems. I can guarantee you that, because it creates a lot of problems as well. Okay, so coming back to this. So we've got the init thing. No, that's not right. Oh, it's because it's still on shape. Hang on a minute. Go back to here. There. Oh, hang on a minute. That's the other thing. I've made a mistake. So I changed the wrong thing. So what I'll do is I will change this to Omnisphere. Oops. You don't even have to type the whole word either to select the thing. You can just, as soon as there's one thing in there, you can just press return. I think it actually selects the top one of the list. Yeah. And like, just imagine this, you know, how many seconds does that save you each time? And then add up the number of seconds what that leads to in your life. And you'll very quickly see what a wonderful thing that is. There we go. Okie dokie. So now I've got to swap these around. All right, and let's move these down. I think what I might do actually, in order to save time, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneakily combine this solution with this solution. Yeah. So I'm actually going to improvise another main riff pattern that suggests a chord progression or leads to it. Actually, guys, could you tell me, can you actually see the writing here when I'm looking in my Trello? Can you just give me a kind of a quick poll? How many of you can see what I'm writing here? Just tell me that and I'll get on with this. Because that would be helpful for me to know how much narrating I need to do in future. There we go. Volume! Sarah, hello Sarah. Good to see you on here. Okay, if you go full screen, watching it in 1080, yeah, okay. I'll probably just to catch all, because I'm sure some people watch things on their phones and stuff. I probably should be narrating. I want to be narrating what I'm writing. I've got to get that in my head. Okay. Record. Doesn't have capture. Remember that, Michael. Does not have capture. I had a very frustrating situation actually this week where I moved a track I was working on from Logic into Luna, forgetting that at this stage Luna doesn't do, you can't sidechain things. And this track is very dependent on a gate, plugin, the Fab Filter Gate plugin, and it's dependent on me being able to sidechain that plugin. And so I did all of this stuff, and then I was like, oh, and I knew it as well. I knew that it didn't have Luna doesn't yet have sidechaining, and so I was like, oh man. But interestingly, as a result of realizing that, I came up with another solution, and it does involve a bit of messing about, but it's okay. But this is version 1, right? So we've got to try and remember that. They've done an amazing job for version 1. It's just mind-boggling what they've managed to do. So. Going on? Why is that not playing? I was fully expecting some pads to start playing then. What happened? Maybe I was being impatient. Maybe I didn't catch the start of them. What am I missing? What am I missing? Why is that so much quieter? Have we got something going on in console 1? No? Not particularly. There's a bit of a high cut going on there. I don't know why that's there. Let's just leave it like that. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mikhail. Like, you see some people online like getting annoyed with whoever. I mean, but in this case, Universal Audio for, oh, what you should do, what you should have done was like make the key commands, make the you to be able to select the key commands. Logic's been doing that for years, and it's like, are you kidding me? Do you know what the feat that they've pulled off, right, in order to deliver this, right? I mean, Logic's been around long. Well, not Logic exactly, but an early version of Logic's been around longer than I have, like in terms of making music. It's just, it started out as Notator, I think, didn't it, or something? But anyway, I mean, I think I started Logic when it was still I did. It was eMagic. Was it eMagic? I can't remember. But it's been around for like decades. And I can promise you, version 1 of Logic did not have selectable key commands. I remember when it happened because I thought, wow, that's amazing. That's cool. So people are just like, I don't know. Yeah, that's why you've kind of got to ignore people quite often online, because just, yeah. Why is that so quiet? Boom. Just turn it up. That'll do. There is something going on there though, because hang on, is it going out of a weird bus or something? Let's just check that. Nope. There is something going on there because it was too loud before. Anyway, as long as I can hear it, it doesn't matter. All I really need to do is... Actually, I know what I'm going to do. That's a good idea. Yes, people are bonkers. I think the bit that I sort of object to is that, so I'm bonkers too, and I think all sorts of ridiculous things, but I do my best anyway. I mean, don't always succeed at this, but I do my best not to impose my bonkerishness on other people, particularly people who I don't know and who, like, it's like, you know, you have this opinion, you know, just because you have an opinion or a crazy thought doesn't mean it's a good idea to write it on the internet at somebody, because your words have an impact on other people. Do you know what I mean? You know, so that's what I object to. I mean, I don't really object to it. I don't really care, but it's like, I mean, when I say I don't care, what I mean is it doesn't bother me too much. People are people, but it's like, you know, if I spouted out every thought that I had, ridiculous thought I had, then, you know, won't get anywhere. I'd just be spouting out ridiculous thoughts all the time. So 3, there we go. What's going on? Why is this? Oh, I see, it's because I'm in there. Right. I am thinking that is along the lines. What I'm just going to do now is a little bit of the old nip and a tuck so that I can... Right, so first of all, let's just send this to... Where am I sending it to? Where's Diva going to? Exist melody there. All right, so let's put you over here. Oh no, brassy solo, that's it. Let's put you to melodic. Bus. Start. Totally haven't sorted out the mix here, but anyway. I do lots of fun things like gain staging and God knows like that. But anyway, it's the wrong one. It's this brassy solo. And I know this one wants to go to the wide bus. Oh, the other good thing about the other thing I really like is this. You can hide tracks. So you could just focus on like, I know I'm going to focus on the drums. Yeah. I don't know if you can do that in maybe you can do that in Pro Tools. I don't know, but I've never used Pro Tools. Is one of the ones I've never actually used, but that's very helpful. So let's just not insert. Let's send. Studer D is what we're using. Let's put console 1 on, just that's what I'm going to need later. I won't worry about it for now though. Actually, what I might do is I'll put large reverb on this, I think. Cheers, David. And once I've done this little bit of, just to let you know, once I've done this little bit of just getting these sounds in, so that I can hear them in the future, I'm going to call this session a day. So as I'm doing this, thank you for coming, hanging out and watching me solve this problem. And just to kind of get, hang on, that's not right. Just to resolve where we're at. I've done that. And I've kind of done that. I've done that. I've done the diva part. So what I might actually do at this point is add another option. One of the things that I've been doing in my music quite a bit is, you know those what's the one that I'm thinking of? You know those pop tunes where you've got like a man and a woman singing, and they're doing like a duet. You know, there's ballads. or the one that I can think of more easily is like Cat Stevens. It's not time to make a change. Father and son. That one. What I'm kind of enjoying doing is having two parts that are basically having a conversation with each other. So what might be quite fun is to add a piano improv answering the diva. In fact, I'm going to do that right now, actually. So I'm going to do that before going, because I might as well, because I've just made myself all excited about it. But feel free to leave. If you need to go to bed, please go to bed. You don't need to be. You don't need to be watching. You don't need to be watching me for the next 5 hours. But not that it's going to take me 5 hours. But that's the thing with these live streams, by the way. I'm kind of. They're not there. Live streaming's different. It's very different from. It's very different from other forms of content, in that it's much more just kind of slice of life stuff. So you don't have to watch it all. What should I use? Let's give them noir. I'm going to use noir. Okay, I go. So what do I do? There we go. Oh, I wonder. Latency. Wonder why that is. Just check something out here. What have I done with it? Where is it gone? Where are you? There you are. Let me just check something. This might be something to do with my MIDI setup. Okay. Anyway, never mind. I'll deal with it. I'm going to figure that out later. I've got a latency issue going on. The good thing is that I have a terrible habit of habit of always anticipating notes. So maybe the latency will turn me into a much more of a groover. I'm a little too keen. Put a bit of large reverb on, always gets me inspired. The old oh yeah. think what I might do, because this latency thing. Yeah, no, I'm sure I've got some kind of. I think it's some kind of MIDI issue because like I've not had this before. Anyway, I'm gonna sort it out now. I'm just gonna record something in so that I've got a vague idea. Let's find out. Mikhail's asking, is that latency while actually recording? Because I didn't experience the latency with Diva, so there must be something going on. I don't actually know. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to not do that now. Even though that is something to do next time. I'm not going to do that now because there's too much of the Diva. There's not enough space in the Diva to do that. Yeah, and I might not need to do it. Maybe the piano playing the is enough. Yeah, so I'm going to leave that, even though I got myself all excited there. Where's it gone? There it is. So I'm going to add that. There we go. Add a piano. Improv answering the Diva. Improv. And that I'm going to now export it. That, I think, is a wrap for today. So I will be here. I think I'll be here tomorrow. I will try. I'm not actually going to schedule these because I'm just finding it much easier just to do them when I can. So hopefully at some point I will be able to start scheduling them. But I'm going to be here regularly. I may actually be here later on today. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, I will be doing them regularly. So make sure that you subscribe and click the remind thing if you want to see me finishing this album. As you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tracks in here. I've actually got more. I've got more which are in contention in here, but I've just removed them because I was getting overwhelmed. So I've got 11 tracks at the moment. Actually, some of these are 2 tracks. So for instance, Shama, where is that? Yeah, that's 2 tracks. Yeah. So yeah, I've probably got more like 12 that I'm trying to get done. So I will see you very soon. As you know, keep doing your own thing. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sanitized, and onwards and upwards.